Sorry to front is junky. I've been getting stuff ready back for storage, but I do have enough room to do this test. I will remove that box a little further though. I'm going to run my AC, my 5500 watt, 5500 BTU. My mind's not going well this way. My 5500 BTU AC. I'm going to test to see how it runs under full sunlight, getting live power from the sun. Just basically during the day. At the night, I don't have enough batteries. I've got one coming. Probably going to have to buy another. And then maybe I could run this through 5 hours at night or so. And maybe I could run the zero breeze the entire time. Excuse me. The zero breeze, I told you before, did very well. I could get 5 hours on a normal sunshiny day in Dallas in August. That night, but it's not as hot at night, so understand that. The 5 hours is pretty good. I would love to be able to get that up to 7 or 8 hours running that thing at night and still have battery power left. That was the point where my solar controller shut it down because the batteries were getting danger area. So I'm going to do that same test again, which is relatively risky. I guess I could damage the batteries, but I need to know. So I'm going to run the full 5500 BTU at the lowest possible setting, energy saving mode, and see how it does. And I'll come in. What I'm doing is I'm not going to sit out here with it because it's going to be too doggone hot, and I need to be doing some other things outside the van. So what I'll be doing is checking in the van every 15 to 20 minutes. This is this is the hotel test. While I'm at the hotel, I might as well get this test done because I'm not going to be able to do it live during the week. Suppose I could probably do it at work, but I can't get the sun I would require because of the dimensions of the parking lot and the shading. So I'm going to give this a shot right now. So here we go. I'll switch it on. I've already switched on the 6,000 watt surge inverter. It's 3,000 watts. Continuous power, which works fine with its AC so far, and we'll see how it does. Once again, straight calculation is affected by the fact that my panels are on the side, top, and back of my van, but so it's also a matter of how I've got it parked. I think this is probably the best way I can get it parked. I am under some trees, but the sun takes at least 3 hours to get to the point where these trees are an issue. Right now, the angle is pretty extreme, so it's not getting the same amount of power I'd get if it was straight. But remember, we don't always have solar noon when we are doing camping or urban survival. So we just have to accept less than optimal conditions. If you had one of this van, remember the solar van, the fully solar van that went, I think, from Canada down to Central America? They had these huge panels they could sit out occasionally that would flip up and they could follow the sun. Can't do that in any normal budget, so I'm just going to do the best I can with my Snuffy Smith redneck. And yes, black people can be redneck. Not in some philosophies, but in many. Engineering type of system here, and see how well it does. Okay, I'll talk to you later once we can run this test. It was 10:16 when I started in the morning. The sun is right where you see it now. I didn't look at the sun when I carried the camera up there, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm on my way back out to the van. It's been 2 hours, and that would be pushing it. And if my batteries were in danger, I wouldn't do this. But I do have a limit set on my solar controller, so if it gets too low, it will shut out before the batteries are damaged. So I don't hear the alarm going off. So hopefully it's been 2 hours, and I've still got my AC going. Maybe I can see what the temperature reads before opening the door. Kicks it back up. 79. So this is still going after 2 hours. Let me peek around here and see if I can take a look at this. Okay, I am taking in 312 watts, but I am dropping. So I'm not that far off alarm level. But 2 hours, of constant run at low and energy saver mode. And before I open the door, it's back up to about 80. Was it 77, 70, something like that? When I just looked, should have remembered, but it's already left me. So it's showing 80 now. So it's still going after a couple hours, full sun. So basically what I'm trying to see is if I can generate enough sun during the day to keep my AC running. But right now I'm pulling in 313 watts of power off the sun. So it is giving it some demand. So we'll see. I'm going to come back in another hour and we'll see where it stands then. Like I said, I'm not endangering my batteries because my solar controller will shut down its power, its power draw at a reach a point, and then I'll come in and I'll switch it off. And I'll be out here more often now, like every 25 or 30 minutes. But so far so good, and it was reading 70 something in here, so it was cooling very well. Now I could have had the delays saying let it run for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and then cut itself off for maybe 15 20 minutes, then cut itself back on for 30 or 40 minutes or something like that. And that probably would stretch it out, but I'm just doing it under worst possible circumstances or the most possible draw. How long this thing is going to last before it alarms and the battery damage prevents battery damage. All right, back in a bit. Well, I'm back out in the van. It's about almost 2 o'clock, and I started this at about 10:15. So it's still working. The temperature has gone up. I think the compressor has switched off. So I'm just trying to figure out now why it switched off, or if that's just it's in a cycle where it needs to switch off. But I did go for at least 3 straight hours. This is 10. Started at about 10. 140, but 2.5 hours, and it got very cool in here. It has gotten a little warmer. It looks like the compressor switched off for the time being. I'm just monitoring it and seeing what it's going to take. I put it on cool mode to see if that would alter anything. Then we'll put it back on energy saver mode, and I'm gonna come back out later and take another look at it. Right now, it's not taking that much power. I'm showing 12.63 volts. Which is pretty good. I'm pulling down about 264 watts off of the sun, at a particular angle where I'm sitting. But the sun is getting to be affected by the trees pretty soon, so I'll have to either stop the test at wherever it is then. Yeah, see, I think that at this point, I would put it about 10, 12, about 3 hours. I'm beginning to get some switch off. So I'm not exactly sure exactly what, but it appears to be taxing the system somewhat. Take a peek around here. I'm just gonna let it run a while longer because my solar controller is still showing a good charge. So I'm just gonna test it a while longer and see if I can come up with some resolution to what's going on. But I did get 2 hours of really good cool air, and I'm just trying to see what could be causing the hang up. But I did expect it to be going off now, just by energy drainage. But we're going to see. Anyway, I'll be back and check it again later. All right, it ran for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, great. And then I had issues, but I don't think the issue had anything to do or was any way related to the function of the solar charging system. I did realize something on the opposite side of this. I don't know if you can even see it around this corner, but my well, I can't really see it from this angle, but my inverter is in the hot side of my car. It's facing the driver's side, which I am not trying to cool, of course, with my AC back here. But what it's doing is, if it gets too hot, it begins to alarm, and justifiably so. It was a stupid thing in retrospect. What I could do is, I have this fan here. I can open this fan up, and I can blow this out, and then keeping these windows gapped, I believe I can keep it cool in there enough for it to function. The other idea is moving the inverter back into the back here where the AC is on, so the AC will be cooling the inverter, which would be the best idea. I just don't feel like doing that right now, and I don't really feel like doing that this summer, I don't think, but I might end up doing it. I just, every once in a while I get the urge to do something. For instance, while I was working on this is the old I don't know, gasket basically. How you doing? Gasket basically around this door, and it was in pretty bad shape, so I had a new one. I've had this new one about 3 or 4 months. I decided to go ahead and put it in, so it is all the way around. I'm probably gonna have to screw it in somewhere because it's not really very well. It may be very well on there. When I close it, I'll see how much this basic sealer that it's got on here is going to work. If not, I'll put a couple of bolts here and there. Well, a couple of bolts, a couple of screws. For instance, there's a little attachment back here that I can put a screw in to secure this. There's one at the bottom I can put a screw in right now. Seem to be doing all right. But so that diverted me from the somewhat successful, somewhat failed test I did. But it did get it down into the 70s, and it's a 100-degree day, at least during the heat of the day. Right now, I'm under trees, and the sun is on the other side of the trees. I'm not going to be running the test again, and since I'm at the hotel until tomorrow, I don't really need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this around like I usually do to the front of the hotel. I always like to have my van within visual range, and we'll worry about it again later. I did do this. I added this little cone because it was secured up here, but it was collapsing. So I put this up to sort of stabilize it, to give it better flow. That's when on the rare occasions when not rare, most often occasions when I'll be using the zero breeze here, which I have currently bungeed to this I'm tacky to this storage. Why am I drawing a blank here? Anyway, it's just to this set of drawers here. Then that's about it. So I'm gonna worry about all the rest of this tomorrow, and I'm going to pull this thing around and lock it up and secure it for the day. And we'll talk about this again later. But I did find a heat issue, and I think just open this, blow out, and then when I've got these windows down sufficiently, I will keep that cool enough so it doesn't alarm. So and then when it alarms, it shuts itself off. Right now I ran it quite a bit of the day, and I can look around here and I can take a look, and I'm at about 12.25 volts. I'm only pulling down about 35.7 watts because the sun is moved over on the opposite side of the building. I could position this for more sun, but since I'm not going to be using it early tomorrow, I just let it stay the way it is, and then move it around tomorrow when I'm actually leaving. All right, I'll talk to you later. You have a wonderful day. And the test is, like I said, 3 hours, 75, less than 70 in the high 70s, in a 100-degree day, in a tin box with sun bearing down on it. That's not bad. And that's about 2.5 or 3 hours. So that was very good. So we'll think about this later and work on some more. I've got the other battery coming in, and that's going to increase my storage. So maybe I can run my zero breeze through the night. And that's when I basically use zero breezes at night. Occasionally during the day, but mostly at night. And it's cooler at night. And at night is when you want your batteries to be preserved more. Talk to you later.